yippee, yay guys, Pow number 33, and I'm super excited to be with you guys today. Today we'll talk about what's happening on the markets, talk about as well some new update with the earn, and as well some things about the Guardians, and then just try to figure out where we are, talk about a little bit what is going to be this new alt season, is it coming, what's the new narratives that you're very excited about. My name is Cyrus. I'm the proud founder, CEO of SwissBorg, always there to serve you. So let's start with SwissBorg in the news. Really nice to see that Being Crypto has released something, an article where it's citing essentially Christoph and talking about obviously about something that's very big where our institutional investors are participating in the Web3 crypto space via these different companies such as MicroStrategy, which today is one of the biggest holder of Bitcoin. And there's been a lot with Ethereum too that we're going to talk about right after. Now let's talk about the markets. All-time high against Swiss franc. That's a nice one for BTC because Swiss franc was doing way too well and it's corrected a bit. That's pretty much the reason why, right? So what about the global markets? First thing, if you guys haven't checked, I mean, Trump, he's been flexing the world with his, all these different aircrafts, inviting all the NATO governments to him and trying to find peace. So this could be a really bullish thing for the world, I would say. Peace and love, which is very important. This could be a lot as well for the markets, because if Russia and Ukraine gets to shake hands, and this could be unlocking a huge amount of crypto, of funding and of money and all of that. And I believe that if you got frozen your money for so long, most probably you're going to figure out how never to get frozen again. Bitcoin is definitely one way, crypto as well. So this is something that is huge to think about. We'll see how this evolves, but this is very nice to see at the least. Now regarding crypto assets, there was huge inflows last week. Right now we're having a little bit of outflows today, but overall Ethereum is definitely the one leading, where there was essentially almost $4 billion of inflows happening into Ethereum's ETFs. It's not the altcoin season. This is not happening, and I want to talk to you about that. We've been thinking a lot with Alex, Anthony, Christoph, and Jeremy and all that, and we're still again extremely convinced that this bull market is going to go amazingly, right? Next few weeks, we're going to have the Fed's going to decide to cut rates or not with the CPI and the different results recently. I don't think they're going to cut. I think so Jerome Powell is going to just to fight through to say I will never cut rates to not bring inflation and then make Trump happy, right? But sooner or later we know this is going to change, right? There's midterm elections where Trump has to show to the US that he has the biggest economy, is doing so great. So for that he needs to cut rates and make sure that the public market of equities goes bananas, and how crypto as well, as he has an agenda which is crazy attached to himself, his children, doing stable coins and more than that, and just him being just a huge crypto fan himself. So overall the macro picture has not changed. It could be delayed. This is the longest bull run, or maybe we're just getting into more mature cycle. We've seen a lot of inflows happening, and we saw a nice market in 2024, which was driven by retail a little bit, but more people like yourself. So intermediate to advanced people that knew exactly well this crypto market for at least one or two cycles. We haven't seen new people, and we saw a lot of inflows coming from institutionals going through the ETFs, right? Now we know this is just going to go more and more bananas. There's more and more people getting into these different, first Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then they're going to send other than blockchains, and then they go into the different apps, right? And eventually this is how we all do, right? We start with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then we get into other coins such as SwissBorg and other different dApps that make sense as changing the game. The one thing I want to say is the alt season, and I don't really like the term alt season because it doesn't mean anything. I think we get to a market which is much more mature in the fourth cycle, where not everything's gonna go bananas, and I think so. Nothing has ever gone bananas. There's been different narratives regarding these different cycles where one went very well, so DeFi Summer 2020, 2021 went for DeFi. There were some video games going well. Then there's all these different blockchains competing. The blockchains competing space, I think, we arrived to an end. I think people have realized that, there might be some like good ones. I'm not saying they're, we've been working a lot with, Hype, which is doing great, but it's really because they're mainly connected to their, perpetuals, and that's why it's doing well. There's SUI, that's a big competitor. So there are a few ones I think that will remain and they'll be pushed, but this whole new blockchain thing, it seems hard to sell. Like, I'm going to sell you huge vision. So you're going to still have pump and dumps, and we see this joke about Story. You probably have checked out that one. It's just, these guys have a $5 billion valuation or token. They make $40 per week of revenues. I mean, that's how crazy it is. And I think that the meme season, all of that, as well brought into like the scary Ponzi's and ways to trade. And I think it's a bad thing. I just think this is what some people like to do. But let's face it, now that real money is coming, these people have a different mindset. It's just a different mindset, right? They could grow and grow stories. You could go into Tesla. You could go into stocks that have a very nice price to earnings, much higher than others. But you still have a fundamental value that's driven by revenues, dividends, and then you have the growth stories about, okay, maybe Tesla is highly valued, but they're not a car company. They're a robotic and AI company. They're very different from any other car company, right? And this is where then you could sell the story about saying, well, maybe, Tesla is trading at 50 or 100 times the revenue, where, well, Porsche is only trading 5 or 6. Well, obviously, Porsche are not building beautiful. They're building beautiful cars, but they're not self-driving. They're not creating humanoids. They're not creating AI software that's insanely good. They're not doing that. They're just making nice cars. So, getting back to that same type of mindset here, I invite you guys to try to think more and more, what are the companies that are driving revenues and how these revenues are essentially being connected to the token, right? So I'm going to be, I talked about this online at Aave Morpho, right? This is like a very interesting one. If we go to Morpho today, right? So we go to Aave. So here we could see straightly, right, that Aave today, they have bought back 76,814. That is 17 million that they've bought back. And they're trying to do a buyback of $1 million of Aave each week. And this is the game changer, right? If you look at Jupiter, it's the same thing. If you go like Hype, it's the same thing. And you see essentially these guys going for buybacks. And for buybacks and shares has been existing for everything. It just shows a way to how to portray the virtuous circle was that there's fees that are being managed. It's going to a DAO. The DAO essentially is buying back the token. And then it could be distributed or not be distributed, the tokens in different forms, right? So this is exactly where I see the future of this altcoin season. It's not necessarily just look at a narrative and just close your eye and take your machine gun and go into it. But this is where you see. So you see, like, for example, Aave, then you have Morpho, and you have Camino. 3 great markets, right? The better thing about Morpho and Camino is that they have segregated lending pools. So that means you're not commingled with all the things. If Aave has one problem, one lending pool could actually contaminate the other ones, which is not great, even if they're the biggest ones. Other ones have segregated ones. So that's why it's easier for us to work with Morpho or with Camino, for example, right? It's better in terms of risk management. But in terms of token utility, and more importantly in terms of buyback, this is where the fundamental value goes. And more people and eyes are just going to that. So I think I'm going to be updating soon my BORG Data Test picks. It's a lot about fundamentals and understanding where to cherry pick the ones that will not only go well in this cycle, but that will stay forever because they have really economic value that's distributed by these buybacks. Let's talk about BTC right now. While we're correcting, we're at 115. Nothing to really matter. It's just normal. we had an overreaction here, which went to 124. Now we're trading back at 115. 115 is still a nice support that we have, and the big support is a 112. So we still have roughly 11% to play in this channel. ETH is doing fantastically well. Obviously, a little bit correction there. We're at 4,100 right now, where we have the support zone. So we're still playing at it. It's still a bull flag, which is great. Why is Ethereum getting back? Because again, it's going back to fundamentals. How much TVL, how much dApps, how much economic value does Ethereum create today? A huge amount. And this is where smart money is going, right? It's cool to say like, oh yeah, sweet and all of that. Yeah, I'm not saying they're not great projects. They haven't proven resilience and economic value today. They haven't. And that goes for all of these blockchains, right? Right now we have 4 blockchains, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, BNB, and Hype, right? And Avalanche is getting there, right? But those top 5 has shown the world that there's economic value behind it. What is nice as well, we see the dispersion, which is from Ethereum, Bitcoin is being outperforming it, which is very nice too. And this shows again that there's a strong interest into the Web3 space. Now let's talk about the BORG. Been working on it all day. That's why this video is short, super late for producing it. We are gonna go to fireworks soon, and I can't wait for it. Hope you liked the last video about that and showing what's gonna happen in the next couple of weeks. But we're working really hard on again making the BORG the centerpiece of what we are building and what you are using and what we are actually co-building, right? So we right now the resistance at 24, which there's been a lot of whales accumulating silently. I would say not many, but few whales have been accumulating in the last 2 weeks. It's very interesting to see that. When I see it's orders over $250,000 that are being accumulating BORG. And this is something that we've seen in the past, is when we see people, smart money coming in, that is usually a very good sign of a next pop. Overall, the market has been pretty red. Nice little correction there, besides few tokens. Upcoming voting, it's happening. So please cast your votes on what are the nice tokens you want to see. There's Caldera, there is C98, there's Dawaj, there's Mine Protocol, Mina. There's Mubarak, there's Ravencoin, Saga, Feast, and many others. So just please give a thumb up and vote for it. This is a new feature within the SwissBorg app. This is a great way. I'm very excited. So until yesterday, you had to exchange, you had to deposit funds in the phone, in your app, right? Today, the great thing is that you don't need to do that with your Apple Pay, Google Pay, or your credit card. You could directly make a transaction happen, and you just double click on your phone, and essentially the payment goes through, and you get to buy your favorite token, BORG in this case, through the SwissBorg app. I think this is very cool. It's going to be shipped within a very small amount of time. So this just shows you again how to make the user journey even better, where you just need to no more deposit within your local currency, but you could directly buy from your debit, credit card, or Apple Pay, or whatever pay. Earn is coming with new stuff, which is great. Suzaku, which is fantastic. We're still actually going for 40% APY for the next week. Then it's going to be 20% APY. It's been a fantastic as well alpha deal. You guys have had up to 80% in profit. I think so now we're still in the green. So congrats to the team, and congrats if you made this investment. Trading vaults, that was last week, and new week we're having one. Because it was sold out. We're going to have a new one, watch right now, which was 79% again. So here there's a potentially 64% up on one of our favorite blockchain, which is obviously Avalanche. So it's going to be a nice one if you don't want to trade, but you want to get into the channel and let the trading happening for you. It's a great trading vault strategy that could happen. Obviously, there's always risk on these things, so you could get up to 64%, but as well lose 40%. It's a trading vault. But I really like those ones. Talk about love in the community. We have fantastic events that happened last week where we had to ride around Verbier, which was cool. But we have more things as well coming this Saturday, which is if you're in Villars, you like cars, we're gonna be sponsoring beautiful old cars motor race. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. Tonight we are actually as well in Zug and myself for the Solana party. And cast your wonderful agendas. We're gonna have a great event in Gstaad in the third week of September. We will have Caprice, so that's gonna be really more events and more fun. Back to school, we have the Tesla Zurich happening on September 2nd. Be there and invite all your friends too. According to the Borgs, you have decided on the fourth option, which is to create a lot of cool swag. Which is going to be for the new Borger ranks, which I really love that idea. I actually really pushed that one, not through the chat, but I thought about it a lot. And so hopefully that was communicated in a great way. And I heard there's going to be really cool things that I didn't think about, which I'm very happy to see is going to happen. So important reminder, one vote happened, one Borg, one vote. And talking about that, we have grown a lot. There's Borg staking for all different jurisdictions. Finally, we'll be able to do that. So that has added already 10 million coming from our beautiful friends from north of France, not north of France, above there, if you guys know what I mean. And I'm very excited to have more people staking Borg. This is just now, we have 36% of total supply that's locked into these wonderful Borg staking. So this is great. Borg and some news. Great news regarding the upgrade of 222 people that got into premium, which is great. Overall, it's pretty much the same thing. Besides, as I said, 36% of 1% more of Borg stake, which is great. App and some data did very well in terms of volume traded. We did very well in terms of exchanges too. Not so good on the net flow so far. With 2 billion of assets. And the community index is 6.7. It's a great one for this week. Thank you very much for this. Beautiful burgers. Again, very excited about this week. A lot of things happening with the SwissBorg network. Again, I think the fundamentals are going to be the ones that we need to play and really look at how we could outsmart this market, right? How this market has changed. Do we like it or not? It's a different thing. But these, I'm not saying that memes won't pump. There will be some memes for sure. Because this market is still a satire about finance, but those will pump and dump, right? So you will be able to trade these ones, and I think I encourage for you guys who want to get into trading to get more and more position. 10-20% of your portfolio should be only USDC, and you should be able to trade that if you feel like you want to get there, right? Especially today with SwissBorg, get the best prices and all that. However, if you want to stick for longer terms of period, let's look at the best tokens, right? Best tokens are then have strong fundamentals where they have a great DApp that generates revenue and they have a huge community that's behind that uses it. Very similar to what SwissBorg is, right? So this is something that I strongly would look into, and as this market just grows, we'll get more and more people that will think like that and will pour more money into the market, and therefore this whole ecosystem is just gonna change, probably for the better. As always, be wealthy, be healthy, lower Borg inequity. Take care, guys. Love. Bye.
Pow wow wow, yippee yo, yippee hey, pow wow, yippee